Good point. Yo, what's good, YouTube? It's your boy AJ. I'm here with Rage and Cypher. Man, the winners and losers of off-season NBA off-season. We're gonna talk about it. Hit that like button, subscribe. You're now tuned in the Hoops World.
Hoops World.
We played that I want to kill everything in front of me. So
670.
we did it!
I hit the streets just to get a bag. I pack, he got toe tagged. I punched the nigga for shorty. I'm John Woo with the 40. You not gang nor the homie. Don't blow me, no, you don't know me. Gang shit, members only. You wasn't there, I was lonely. You wasn't there, I was lonely. Dog nights, blicky on me. I was just stacking my commas up, head down trying.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a fun pod, y'all. So we're at that time in the off season where we got to see who's the winners, who's the biggest winners, and who's the biggest losers. So we have our list, and we'll start it off with OKC. OKC is one of the top winners in free agency. I'm in off-season free agency, whatever you want to call it. What do you guys think about OKC? Like, what has Sam Presti done this off-season that's really impressed you guys?
So we were instantly able to see off of like what OKC was doing. So one of the first trades we got was that they traded Josh Giddey for Alex Caruso.
Yeah.
Huge. They were able to essentially just get rid of a player that, his role, like once he got drafted there, it was, of being like almost like a guard. We know what type of like play style he is. Isn't the greatest shooter. And, it was more of a playmaker, but with Shea Gilgeous-Alexander existing, Josh Giddey is not going to be the player he could be. So they get one of the best 3-and-D players in the game, one of a really solid defender and a guy that will play for them instantly for a team that's very young, but was just the first seed in the West. Yeah. And on top of that, you see how many draft picks, how many people they drafted this year. Nikola Topic was one of the players that they drafted that I thought was insane because, as a Nets fan, I was thinking if they were going to trade into the draft, that was a player that I wanted. So I was like, if this is the guy that's going to that's going to back up Shea Gilgeous-Alexander as a point guard, that's scary in the future.
Yeah, they were definitely one of the top teams. I mean, like I said, you get Hartenstein, you get Caruso. We saw the issues with them with rebounding, and they fixed that issue with rebound because Hartenstein's going to get you boards. He's going to play making that short roll. Then you got Caruso going to add to that defensive because they're one of the top defensive teams in the league too. So Lou Dort and Caruso on the perimeter is going to be a pest. They're going to be pests. So that's definitely one of the top winners. Next winner, Sixers. What do you guys think about the 76ers? I mean, they really had to – it's basically like a whole new team. I mean, you look at Morey, what Daryl Morey did. I mean, he really had Embiid and Maxey on this roster by them, like, alone. And then by the end of the offseason, well, we're in July or getting to August, like, you got Paul George, Oubre. You bring Oubre back. You got Eric Gordon. What do you think the Sixers they made them – are they more of a championship contender than they were last year? What do you guys think about the Sixers? Well, Saif, what do you think about the Sixers?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Embiid dealt with injuries last year. That's always going to be a problem. Yeah. But they got Paul George. They got the player. He's the closest thing to Jimmy Butler. that they needed. I mean, they really need a playmaking wing that could score on all three levels, create for himself, and defend. And Paul George is the closest thing to that.
Yeah.
Tyrese Maxey is a guard, guard, wing, big. You have just perfect synergy, and you have depth.
That depth too was really key. I think that big it's like a big three, but I think the Sixers are going to be definitely a team to be afraid of going into the next
Jared McCain as well.
Jared McCain. Eric Gordon was big. Bringing Kelly Oubre was big, and then Caleb Martin was a sneaky. People are going to sleep on that.
They signed Andre Drummond.
Yeah, Caleb Martin and Drummond, like really superb job from Daryl Morey.
Didn't they get KJ Martin too?
Yeah. New York Knicks as our number 3 winner. What do you guys think about the Knicks? Like, what did the Knicks do to you? Do you guys like? What do you think that the Knicks have done in this offseason that really stood out to you guys?
Well, they were able to get somebody that completely, fit with what they had going on. We know obviously the Nova boys are together now. We knew that we especially knew how much Mikal wanted to be in New York. It was it was just kind of an ongoing thing. And, the Knicks were a very good team this past year. They obviously take the regular season seriously and were, a contender essentially before Jalen Brunson and a lot of people went down. But
Yeah,
to be able to, get add on a guy like Mikal Bridges, although had a down year, is it fits very well for them and will be in a different system than he was in Brooklyn and will definitely look better in a system like that as long as he's engaged.
yeah.
And they were all and they and on top of that, they were also able to draft as well. And there were some more acquisitions as well, but I'll leave that to Scythe.
A big concern I have, I mean, look, I think we all agree that Mikal Bridges does make them better.
Mhm.
Excellent 3 and D wing, very switchable 1 through 3, very good
Yeah,
guard, point of attack defender, one of the best off-ball players in the league a couple years ago. Now he's going back to a situation where he doesn't have to be the first or second option. He can just operate off Brunson's gravity. So in
yeah.
terms of that specific move, I think the basketball portion of it is fine. They overpaid for him. They gave up too many. And I also worry about them losing Isaiah Hardenstein because he was very impactful for them on both ends of the floor.
I agree. The center depth is really the issue with the Knicks right now, but they're going to be definitely a team to be worried about in the East. Next up, the Mavericks, the Dallas Mavericks. We got the news I think today about Spencer Dinwiddie getting joining the Mavericks on a 1-year deal. Nico Harrison, man, I'm always singing praises to Nico Harrison. Like this offseason was just superb. I mean, you added Najee Marshall, you added Quentin Grimes, you added Spencer Dinwiddie. The Mavericks needed depth because
Klay
we all watched.
Thompson.
Yeah,
You
Klay
got Klay
Thompson.
Thompson.
We watched the Mavericks in the finals, like outside when Kyrie was cold and when Luka was struggling, nobody else was helping out. It was literally just a ghost town. And you would look at the bench and everybody would just be shell shocked. They had a young kind of bench. Nobody really knew what to do. But just do a quick Mavericks take for me, Rage. Like, what do you think this puts the Mavericks in the West? What the moves that Nico Harrison did this offseason?
Well, at least definitely some steps in the right direction, right? Just a team that just went to the NBA Finals, obviously, not the series that they particularly had in mind, but you lost Derrick Jones, obviously was pretty key for them, but you were able to add Najee Marshall, who might be better for them, and you were able to get off of Tim Hardaway, essentially
Oh yeah,
for, a good Quentin Grime, a 3 and D
Quentin Grimes.
player. Tim
Yeah.
Hardaway wasn't playing for you. You added Klay Thompson on some more scoring. Like the Mavericks are now gonna, they're a team that is in contention still. They're still a team that's gonna be fighting for, a championship, and I think they'll end up being a top 4 seed at the very minimum this year.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, we have the Brooklyn Nets as our last winner of the offseason. No bias. I swear to God, there's no bias here. Uh, what do you guys think about the Brooklyn Nets? Because a lot of people are going to be like, how you guys winners? You guys, you're still going to be one of the worst teams in the NBA. What kind of winner is that? Sai, what do you think about the Nets? How are the Nets? Explain to the non-Nets fans, how are we winners, bro?
Well, we got 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. And look, Mikal Bridges is a good player, but he is not a great player. Like, we got a Giannis-level package for Mikal Bridges. We got so many picks. We got our own picks back from the Houston Rockets, giving them the Suns picks. I believe the Nets, over the next 7 years, own a 15, 16 first-round picks.
Yep.
I think that's the second most in the league behind OKC.
Yep.
And these are high-quality first-round picks. Almost all of them are unprotected first, with the exception of the Philadelphia pick. Like, we are locked and loaded. And we have Cam Thomas, who very promising young scorer. We have a new coach, Jordy Fernandez, who's coaching Team Canada. A lot of young players. And yeah, we're tanking. We're going to lose a lot of games. Yeah. But if there's any year to tank, it is this year when you have a generational draft class with Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, Harper, Edgecombe, Nolan. Like, this is the year. So very bright future for Brooklyn.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a good season for the Nets because the rebuild is what we needed. We got our destiny back. The Nets got their destiny back. It's going to be a good. They definitely got a winner because all the Bleacher Reports, ESPN, Fox News, I'm all looking at the Brooklyn Nets offseason grades, and it's all A plus, A minus, A minus, A. Like everybody's giving off our offseason an A. So, real quick, going into the losers. So we did the top 5 winners. We got OKC and all them, but now we have the top 5 losers of off season. Number 1, we have the LA Clippers. Speak about the LA Clippers, Rage. I know we just did a pod about the downfall of the Clippers, but why are the Clippers probably one of the number 1 losers this offseason?
Well, they were already, there's obviously it's already clear that, Kawhi Leonard still is just getting hurt, and it's just nothing's getting better there. Paul George essentially just left for nothing. James Harden, they signed to a new contract, but is still, just getting older and just, they're just still trying to hold on. Russ is gone. They
Yeah,
they added some other pieces, but the thing is that they were already clinging, to try, trying to do something in the West already, and now they lost Paul George, they lost Russell Westbrook. Yeah, they added some other pieces, but now it's just a matter of them. It's just all falling apart at one point. Yeah,
yeah,
they did add some pieces like that, KPJ, and there was some other players that they did add, but it's nothing compared to every other West team that we have going on. We've talked about OKC, Memphis is gonna be there, Dallas is there, and more.
yeah,
It's not looking good for the Clippers. They're still just trying to desperately hold on, and that's the problem that I think we had with the Nets. Although it was Mikal Bridges that we were holding on to. The Clippers are like in we're talking about the Bulls, but they're in like the same territory of just holding on to way too long.
yeah. Syfe, you want to jump in there?
They, I actually thought they got some decent role players, but here's what I'll say: they traded 5 first-round picks in SGA for Paul George.
Oof. Yeah.
One of those picks became Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
They gave up so much for Paul George, and look, at the time, it made a lot of sense. But I'm one of the guys that's of the belief that, hey, at some point, when you trade that many picks for a single player, it's just not worth it. Even if you're getting someone like Paul George or James Harden, they gave up so much, and 5 years later, you end up with 3 playoff series wins, 1 conference finals appearance, and you lost Paul George in free agency for nothing.
Yeah. And they literally have, I think the next draft pick that they own is like 2030. It's their draft capital's in the dirt. They're 1 injury away. Kawhi is the most like injury prone superstar in the NBA, and they're 1 injury
And we
away.
know about James Harden already
Yeah.
aging on top of
They're,
him, having
they're
issues
1
and
injury away
that
from
are
being like
just coming.
top bottom 4 team in the NBA. So next up on our losers list, we have the Chicago Bulls as the number 2 losers of the offseason. Real quick, what do you guys think about the Bulls? I mean, some Bulls fans will argue with you. They'll be like, hey, we got a decent offseason. We're on our way to a rebuild. Some Bulls fans are gonna say like, hey, they're a little bit positive. But what do you guys think about the Bulls? Like, why do you consider them losers this this offseason, the free agency?
I think with the Bulls, it was just a matter of them also holding on way too long
Way
to
too
what they
long,
had.
yeah.
Zach LaVine. It was Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, we know how much they gave up for Nikola Vucevic. The Magic have just been eating that up, eating that up. They've just been getting better.
Yeah.
They almost made the list for winners, but they've it's been eating at them. In the Bulls, just lost to DeMar DeRozan for nothing. Yeah, you
Yeah.
draft Matas,
Yeah.
but it's still just a matter of them. They just hold on way too long. And now Zach LaVine, you see the crazy contract he's on. He's now like you're unable to move him now. It's on
Right.
like so it's like some Trey Young type status that
Yeah.
he's on right
If they
now.
were
It's
able to
not looking
move
good.
if they were able to move Zach and Vucevic, I'll put them at winners because if they were able to move, I mean, it's still a little bit of time in off season, but if they were able to move those 2 guys, I think they would be in the winners category because you flip those guys for assets and capital, and then you go fully young and try to get a draft pick. Like that would be better. But right now they're in purgatory because Zach and Vucevic are good, and then you have good players around them. Josh Giddey, good role players, but you could be somewhat high in the East, maybe 9th seed, 10th seed. We'll see what happens with the Bulls. Next up on our losers list, we have the LA Lakers, man. The Lakers are the team that everybody just like, oh my God, we're gonna get this player, we're gonna get Donovan, we're gonna get Trey Young, we're gonna get every star in the market, we're gonna get Paul George. And they struck out on every single superstar that was available. But Saif, what do you think about the Lakers, man? Like, how are they one of the losers in offseason?
I mean, they basically did nothing. I mean, okay,
Yeah.
they drafted Dalton Connect, who looks pretty good. who said
Agreed.
he can
Forget
contribute.
about Bronny.
Yeah.
Bronny.
Well, that's why they're one of the losers. I mean, they drafted a player who, and look, he had a couple good summer league games toward the end,
Yeah.
but he's not NBA ready at all. And they wasted. Not only did they just draft him, they
Mhm.
gave him a guaranteed contract. So they
Yeah.
wasted a roster spot on a guy who's basically going to be in the G League for most of the season. When
Yeah.
they could have gotten someone like Lonnie Walker, they could have gotten Dennis Smith Jr. They could. Tyus Jones is still available
Oh,
for some
yeah. There
reason.
were some good players out there. Yeah.
Like they could have gotten a pretty decent role player, but they wasted the roster spot. I don't think they got anyone else good. It just
No. Yeah, it's about it. They haven't made any moves. I think because when LeBron took that max, they really just capped them. I think they were like he took a little pay cut, but they're literally right under the second apron. So it's very hard to pivot under that second apron. Like they're really stuck unless they I guess they have to waive guys, but the Lakers are definitely stuck. One of the worst teams in the offseason.
one of the reasons why they can trade for Cam Johnson is because
Mm,
if they trade for him and they only send us Russell, they'd be hard capped at the second apron.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're very. It's hard to pivot. That's why teams are like you heard Rob Pelinka. It's hard to move in this apron world in the NBA. Once you're in the first, second apron, it's hard to pivot unless you a team like Boston where all your pieces are set. It's cool. I could be in the second apron all day. But if you're trying to make moves, you don't want to be in those aprons. Next up, we have Miami Heat. What do you guys think about the Miami Heat, man? I mean, Pat Riley, Heat fans are probably so pissed off at Pat Riley and the GM of the Heat. I forgot who the GM is, but they're
Andy
probably pissed off.
Eisenberg.
Yeah, Eisenberg. Yeah, they're so pissed off at him because every single year we hear guys want to go to Miami Heat. Dame wants to go to Miami Heat. Donovan had Miami Heat on his list. They never get that guy. They never get that guy every single year. So, what do you think about the Heat, Rage? About what do you think about the Heat?
Yeah, the only thing that they really have been able to do is just been drafting, but in terms of what they've been doing recently, it just kind of is questionable because they still have Bam, they have Tyler Hero, they still have Jimmy Butler. It's just a matter of why aren't they getting these stars and helping their championship window because they just made the championship, a year ago, and now they've just been doing nothing. It was surprising that they made the championship. Like, yeah, they had that team together, but it was really a surprise. But the fact is you know, they're a team that needs to get better and get these stars
Get a
to
star. They
compete
just
with
need a
these
star.
other East teams.
Yeah,
Compete with these other East teams because, Jimmy Butler and then, Jimmy Butler not doing an extension at all also signals him heading out. So it's like, yeah, the drafting is nice, but if you're gonna have Bam and you're gonna have these other guys, it's just a matter of what's your direction. It's just kind of questionable in terms of what the Heat are doing, but like I
yeah.
said, the drafting has been good, but all of the other moves in terms of actually winning now has been questionable. But I guess we'll see.
I agree. Yeah, the thing about the Miami Heat, the positive thing, if you're a Heat fan, is Khalil Ware, Alondes Williams was great. You guys just won the summer league championship. Christopher looked the young guys are looking good. It's just you guys are going to be probably down in the East, not really a championship contender. But hey, they always make it in the playoffs
Get it
somehow.
playing again, get playing again, get
Yeah, they
playing again,
always
and
make
win
it
and get in the
somehow. I don't know how they
playoffs.
do it.
Win and
I
get in the
once
playoffs.
Yeah.
I saw a Miami Heat fan call Pat Riley, and I don't know. I think it's a little bit cruel to say this, but it's a fair assessment. But I once heard Pat Riley be called a Dwayne Wade merchant. Like if you think about it, ever since every decision that has went well, high level decision has
Yeah,
been Dwayne Wade. Like LeBron, got recruited by Dwayne Wade.
yeah.
Uh, 2006, that was Dwayne Wade.
The whole big
Jimmy
Dwayne
Butler
Wade
was
was
also Dwayne Wade.
yeah.
Like
There's a
Got
reason they call
straight.
it Wade County, bro, because Wade from '06 when Wade won his chip to shoot, till the Jimmy Butler era,
And so
Wade
he was
had control of
pivotal.
that franchise, bro. Like it was like literally Wade County.
you just don't mess with Wade. And Pat Riley tried to get too cute with Wade with the whole contract negotiation.
Yeah,
And Wade, he checked him. He's like, "All right, I'm going to Cleveland."
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was tough. It was tough. It's tough, man. We'll see what happens with the Heat. All right, last up on our losers is the Denver Nuggets. Yeah, Denver Nuggets, man, losing KCP for nothing. But talk about the Denver Nuggets, Syph. What do you think? Because people are gonna say, "Oh, they still got Jokic. They still got the best player in the world. They're still gonna be a championship contending team." What do you think about the Nuggets? Why are they on this like loser list?
Well, with the Nuggets, and I kind of feel bad for them because
Mhm.
this is a small market team that basically did everything right, and they're getting punished by the second apron. I mean,
Yeah.
they lost KCP for nothing, and it had to be for nothing because of they're worried about the second apron. So they lost a good starting player, one of the best 3-and-D guards in the NBA, for nothing. They got to hope Christian Braun takes a leave next year. They did make a smart move drafting someone called Deron Holmes,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but then he tears his Achilles tendon in game 1 of Summer League, so he's out for the season. Uh, they just have no depth, and they have no ability to get any depth. You
Yeah.
know, that Michael Porter Jr. contract, and Michael Porter Jr. is a great player, but he just makes too much money for them to do anything else.
Yeah, you broke that down perfectly. Like they're gonna be, I think they're still somewhat a top 4 team just because of Jamal and Jokic, but their depth is not good. Russell Westbrook is not really a floor spacer that they need. He's gonna be great off the bench, but too many turnovers. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at HoopsWorld0. Let us know who your winners and losers are. Did we get the list right of who the winners and losers are of NBA offseason? Appreciate you guys so much. It's Hoops World.